اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Billah minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen. Sayyidina wa Maulana Abil Qasim Muhammad. Wa ala alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin al-ma'sumin. Siyuma baqiyatullah al-a'zam. Ruhi wa arwahul alamina lahul fida. Rabbi shrah li sadri. Wa yassir li amri. Wa ahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Today's topic, Black Lives Matter and Shia Islam. A lot of people in the past and the recent past right now, as we are going through the COVID-19 situation, are involved and are rising up for this Black Lives Matter movement, which is an uprising and a phenomena that is happening and people are seeing and asking questions. And especially for Shia people and those who believe in Ahlulbayt, this should be something very close to heart. And it should be something that is understandable and comprehensible by us, the Shia people. Just so that we can explain the relationship between what's happening in the racism that has happened in America and is happening in America to Shia Islam. Let me just go through the idea or the concept of racism in America. Here, what we are seeing that black people who are being targeted and are being killed and are being treated unjustly and becoming victims of a systemic culture of hatred towards them. When we look at that, obviously it's not something new. It has been going on for a long time. But when you actually look at it, people get the wrong idea as to why it's happening. Why do you think that this hatred is for the black people? And they term it as racism, as supposedly it has something to do with the color of their skin. Actually, it's not that. The reason that black people here in America are being targeted and are being hated is not because of the fact that they are black or the color of their skin is dark. No, there are many people who are Hispanic or, for example, who are Asian, who are darker than black people. But they're not being hunted down. They're not being targeted with hatred. But you look at many people from around the world who are here as immigrants, they are not being targeted by the society here, by a lot of the people here. And they're not being looked at and frowned at and are being looked at as in a hateful way. So why is it that black people are the target of this hatred? And so this whole concept of racism itself is actually incorrect. It's not because that they're black that they're being targeted. This is something that has to be understood deeply. Many people don't understand where this is coming from. And it should be understood where it's coming from. This hatred for black America. And I'm not talking about the color of the skin. It has nothing to do with the color of the skin. You see, all of us who came here from different places, whether you came from Asia, whether you're an Arab or Iranian, from subcontinent India, or any place else where you come from, all the people who have come here through immigration. They have applied for visas. They have requested entry. They were allowed to enter, and hence we are all here. We came for different reasons. Some people came for education. Some people came for work. Some people came for livelihood. Some people were running away from tyrants and evil places. All of these things, whatever reason you came for, you came as an immigrant. People came here as an immigrant. So if you have come here as an immigrant, it means you applied for a visa. You requested entry, and then you were permitted to come. So when we look at all the people who came to America, they asked to come here. They requested to come here. They wanted to come here, and then they were allowed to come here. So when dealing with all of these people, the country has a moral high ground of making you know that you are indebted to America for allowing you to come, because you wanted in and we let you come in. We let you enter. Applying for a visa was like begging. Please let me come. Everyone begged, and America allowed you to come. So they have that higher moral ground that they look down on you and say, you should be grateful to us that you are here. As a nation and as a country, we opened the doors for you to have a better life, to have more opportunities. So it is true that they do have a higher moral ground, and they can say that to everyone who comes here, and everyone should be grateful that they're allowed entry to come in. You can't just come in here, request entry and say, you know what, I'm not grateful to you, or you had nothing to do with it. No, of course not. We asked you and you allowed us. That's great. But of all the people who are here in America, the only people who did not ask to come and who did not request to come, who did not immigrate here, who did not apply for a visa, who did not ask them or begged anyone to come here, are the people who were brought here as slaves from Africa. Yes, those slaves that were brought here from Africa, the black people that we call them, or Black America, it's not the color of their skin, it is the concept of them being dragged and kidnapped from their homes, from their countries, and their culture, and brought away to this land by force. And many of them being killed, maimed, forced to change their lives, their culture, their names, and even their religion. All of these people, this crime that was done, or this great kidnapping, this great mass massacre that has occurred, this slavery that has occurred in the past here in this country, that is a big part of this country. There's only one group of people who went through that. And now America has done this great crime, this shameful crime that is forever a part of their history. Now when they look at the black people, not the color of the skin, but the children of those slaves, when they look at those children of those slaves, which are the black people right now, they see their own ugliness and the disgusting and shameful crime that has been committed by their predecessors, by the very people that they look up to, their own forefathers, and they see it as shameful. So every time they see a black person, that person is a reminder of this ugly past that they have. And that's where this hatred emanates from. This hatred emanates from the fact, not because they're black in color. There are many other people in America who are black or dark in color. Accurately put it. But most people, but those people are not targeted. It's these people, is because of this hatred that they have. Yes, white America wants, and by white America, I don't mean the color of the skin, I mean this system, the systemic, these people who are now ashamed of that past and want to get rid of that past. But you know, they cannot. They want to get rid of it. They wish it never happened. They wish that this whole slavery thing never happened in our history so that they can make America look great. And it doesn't happen because it happened. The crime happened. You did the crime. You brought these people as slaves. As Malcolm said, Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz, that we didn't land on the Plymouth Rock. The Plymouth Rock landed on us. That's why that we were forced to come. We didn't ask to come here. You brought us here. So now it is the only people in America who have the right to stand up to white America and stand up to the country and the elite and the Caucasian America or the European America, whatever you want to call it, and tell them that you are criminals, that you are unjust, and your past is shameful, are the black people. They have the moral ground to speak up because they have been victimized. And it is a God-given right that they have and no one else has, because everyone else was brought here. Now you can talk about the Native Americans, but you know what? Native Americans lived here and they were conquered. They were conquered people. So yes, there is that history that you can't deny. Stronger people came with superior force and they overtook you. So that's just too bad. It's history. But black people were not here. They didn't ask to be here. They were dragged here. And so the criminals are still at large. Now, this white America wants to get rid of the idea that, you know, this never happened. They want to erase it, but they can't because the crime happened. And every time you see a black person, every time they see a black person, it reminds them of that ugly past that they have, this horrible crime that has been committed, that justice has not been done with. My friends, just like you understood that concept, that is exactly what all the Muslim world, the whole Muslim world, wishes that Karbala never happened. Sunnis wish it never happened, so they have to explain that Muslims killed the family of the Prophet. They imprisoned the daughters and children of the Prophet. They disrespected them. They bound them and paraded them like prisoners of war through different cities. It is not a shame on the family of the Prophet who are respected by God. It is a shame on the Muslim Ummah. Yes, the Muslim Ummah and the Muslim nation wants to forget it. They wish they could erase it, but the crime was done. You can't erase it now. The crime was done. And you know what? That ugly crime that was done, and their predecessors who have done that crime, when they look at that crime and that disgusting thing that they have done, yes, it pricks their conscience. It hurts them. Their guilty conscience comes out. And they want to get rid of that. And you know what? The outcome of Karbala and every remnant and everything that reminds them of this crime, they want to get rid of. That's why there's hatred for the Shias. Because Shias are the constant reminder of this crime that has happened. It is the Shias who are keeping this crime alive. It is their crying and their mourning and their keeping alive of Karbala that is pricking the conscience of this Muslim nation. They wish it never happened, but they can't erase it now. Now it has happened. They have done wrong. They have spilt purified blood that was purified by God, by Allah in the Quran, where Allah says, this Ahlulbayt, the people of the household, Allah has purified them and cleansed them. They are pure, and that pure lineage was killed. Not by one person, not by two people, but it was a systemic hatred and a systemic crime that was done by the whole system, from top all the way till bottom. Everyone got involved in it, and they showed that. If they didn't have weapons, they picked up stones to throw it at the family of the Prophet. Not just in Karbala, look afterwards also, when the women and children were being paraded, it were the people who were pelting them with stones. It was a systemic hatred. Yes, they want to forget that. Yes, they wish that it never happened, but you are culprits. And your history is dark. Just like America's history is dark with this crime, and the black people are a reminder of that crime. Just like that, the Shias are a reminder of the crime that has been done by their predecessors. Now, my friends, yes, we don't blame the Muslims today for killing Imam Hussein and the family of the Prophet. We don't blame them for that. Of course not. They weren't there. Just like the black people don't blame the white people who are now for slavery and for bringing them as slaves. Of course not. But the black people, all they're saying is that acknowledge that there was a crime that was done and that justice should be done for the crime. I mean, just giving freedom is not reparation and is not justice for the crime that was done. There was a criminal act, an atrocious criminal act that was done. And that has to be paid for. But when it comes to Islam, when it comes to Muslims, Allah has given the way to all the Muslims. And all Allah is saying is that acknowledge that crime was done, condemn the criminals, and side yourself with those who are on the truth, those who are right. That is Imam Hussein, the grandson of the Prophet, about whom the Prophet had said that he is the master of heaven, Syed Shabab Ahlul Jannah, whom the Prophet had said that he is the Imam, whether he's standing or sitting. He is the Imam and the leader of the Muslims. So, Prophet had said that. So now, all Allah is saying is that recognize that, listen, this crime happened. Accept it was a crime. Condemn the criminals. And then, Allah has given you the door to come to the chosen ones, to the true Islam, the Islam that Allah has sent through Ahlulbayt. He has given you that door. So if Muslims want happiness in the hereafter, it's very easy for you. You don't have to give anything in return. There's no reparation. All you're being told to do right now for your own good in the hereafter is to accept that wrong was done and to side with the truth, to come towards Ahlul Bayt. That is what's happening, my friends. Allah gave the example of this in the Quran also. See it in the story of Yusuf Allah gives this example that when Yusuf was thrown by the brothers and was left to be dead, and the news came back to their father Yaqub, and Yaqub, knowing that these children are lying and doesn't know where his son is, he saw that there was a crime that was done, a grave crime, a serious crime. He started crying. He started mourning. And his children, Allah states them in the Quran, keep on telling him, why are you crying for? You have 11 other children. All of us are here for you. Why are you crying? Because a crime has been done. He was saying, I'm crying because my son is lost. I'm crying. Why shouldn't I cry? You see, the reason, the problem that they're having with the crying of Yaqub is that every time Yaqub cried, it reminded them of their own crime. Their crime that they have done, and that guilty conscience that they have of doing that crime, of committing that crime, was there in them. And that's why they were constantly telling their father, don't cry, don't cry. So it shows that as long as there was a crime that hasn't been paid for and justice hasn't been done, as long as it is kept alive, and as long as people raise their voice and they bring themselves out to let the world know that the crime was done, you see, the criminals and the culprits are always going to have any way that they will try to do to get rid of the evidence of that crime. And that's what's happening in the Black Lives Matter, because they are trying to get rid of the evidence by killing the evidence. And the evidence is the very children of those slaves, the very black people. And the Shias are being killed because they are the remnants, the outcome of the crime that was done in Karbala. They are the followers of Ahlulbayt. And as long as they cry and they mourn for the Holy Family, then there will be people who are going to hate them, because it is a reminder of the grave crime that has been done. So let us put this in perspective and know what this movement is for, and what this crying and mourning is for that Shias do.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alayka ya Rasul Allah. السلام عليك يا خير خلق الله. السلام عليك يا نبي الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام. السلام عليكم أيها الإمام الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. السلام عليك أيها الإمام زين العابدين ومحمد الباقر وجعفر الصادق وموسى الكاظم وعلي الرضا. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك أيها الإمام محمد الجواد. السلام عليك أيها الإمام العلي الهادي. السلام عليك أيها الإمام الحسن العسكري. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان. الأمان الأمان الأمان. العجلة العجلة العجل يا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليكم يا جميع أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله الرحمن